I went to see Trap with my friend Margot.
This whole concert? It's a trap.
A serial killer named The Butcher takes his daughter to a pop concert at an arena, but he finds out that the FBI knew he was going to be there, so he has to try to keep his identity a secret and escape the arena.
Well, the feds or whatever heard that he's going to be here today. They're watching all the exits, they're checking everyone that leaves. There's no way to get out of here.
I've always liked M. Night Shyamalan, even though his movies are really hit or miss. Trap is a nepobaby movie. I guess this year Shyamalan wanted to promote his daughters. He produced one daughter's directorial debut, and he put his other daughter in Trap as the pop star Lady Raven. I'm not at all anti-nepotism, though. There are several filmmakers and actors I like who had famous parents. Nepo babies have been a part of cinema almost as long as it's been around. Lon Chaney Jr. was a Nepo baby. There is something I'm a little bit hung up on, though, about Shyamalan making this movie with his daughter. It's about a father and daughter relationship, but the father is a serial killer. Is that how he sees himself? Is this movie some sort of commentary on him balancing his life as a family man and girl dad with his professional life creating movies with dark and disturbing elements? Is he concerned about what his daughters might think about him creating the kinds of movies he's made?
I can't get away. I can't stop. I'll just do this one last one.
I feel like Dr. Fletcher could get to the bottom of this.
I just want to bring the details back. We'll just talk about the details.
Or maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Shyamalan pitched Trap as what if Silence of the Lambs took place at a Taylor Swift concert. I swear, this is like the year of Silence of the Lambs. This is the second movie we've seen in recent months where comparisons were made in the marketing to the 1991 movie.
Is it scary being an FBI agent?
And then there's that former reality game show host who keeps bringing up the movie during his speeches and talking about Hannibal Lecter as if he's a real person.
Punishment, you see. When you leave, they'll turn the volume way up. Dr. Chilton does enjoy his petty torments.
Weird.
With Trap, I get the Silence of the Lambs comparison to some extent. There's a female FBI agent trying to catch a serial killer, and Trap also uses those same kind of subjective POV shots.
What's with all the police trucks outside? The cameras everywhere, Jamie.
I'm not supposed to tell.
You spook easily, Starling.
Not yet.
You know the Butcher? The freaking nut job that goes around just chopping people up?
So rare to capture one alive.
So they set up a trap for me.
I want Hannibal Lecter inside your head.
Thank you, Clary. Thank you.
Dad.
I think in The Silence of the Lambs it's done with more artistic intent, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it in Trap. It was pretty chilling when Josh Hartnett would stare right into the camera. His smile was so forced, phony, and awkward. It was like he based it on the governor of Florida. Trap and The Silence of the Lambs really aren't that similar at all. It actually reminded me a lot of the Brian De Palma film Snake Eyes, where a police detective is at a boxing match in Atlantic City when an assassination occurs.
A crime is about to be committed.
Now listen to me, Mr. Secretary. I am telling you, you're the one that's going to be sorry.
You will be a witness.
And the Butcher's resourcefulness and ability to be calm under pressure remind me a lot of Jason Bourne.
Are set up on the perimeter.
You got to try to close the head.
Moving up staircase, proceeding to second floor.
I kept thinking about Die Hard as well. There's this neat game called Flip the Premise, which I learned like a decade ago from watching videos by Nepo baby Max Landis.
You take a movie or a property that already exists, you take all the good guys, you make them the bad guys. You take all the bad guys, you make them the good guys. You rearrange the plot so that it now services to make the bad guys sympathetic, the good guys fucked up and evil, and you have an entirely new story every time.
This feels like a Flip the Premise movie. Like, what if it was a Die Hard movie, but instead of a cop, it was a bad guy sneaking around the building?
You take a movie or a property that already exists, that you love, like Die Hard.
I think it's interesting when movies kind of play around with whether or not you should even be rooting for the protagonist. I'm wanting him to get away, but why do I want him to get away? I mostly associate Josh Hartnett with horror movies. I've seen him in all kinds of different movies, but I think the ones that have stuck with me the most are Halloween H2O, The Faculty, and even 30 Days of Night. I really enjoyed his performance in this, and details in the performance like the compulsive behaviors. I feel like you can just tell that he was having fun making this movie. I've always liked Josh Hartnett, but I think I might actually prefer him as a relatively older actor. He has so much character in his face now, and I think he's able to show more range now, because he's less constrained by typecasting than he was when he was younger, and he had to be an angsty, brooding heartthrob in every role. I also like that Jamie character. The actor was pretty funny. The casting of an almost 80-year-old Haley Mills as the FBI profiler seems a bit strange, though. It feels like stunt casting, but for what purpose? Mills is probably most well known for playing twin sisters in The Parent Trap. She's good in this, but she just doesn't have much of a character. Anyone could have been cast in that part and it wouldn't really have an effect on the movie. So why cast Haley Mills? Is it because the butcher is a parent and she's trapping him? Did Shyamalan cast her as a dad joke?
No dad jokes, this is serious, come on. I'm sorry!
There were some things in the movie that I felt were set up and then not utilized. For example, the authorities were on the lookout for a tattoo like the one on his wrist, so at one point he covers it up with a slap bracelet. Later on, his daughter receives a Lady Raven swag bag and says that there are fake tattoos in there, but this goes nowhere. I thought maybe he'd use the fake tattoos to cover up his real tattoo, something kind of clever like that. Maybe I missed something.
Enjoy the rest of the concert.
The main problem is I think this movie has 3 basic selling points. Josh Hartnett's performance, the serial killer trap at a pop concert premise, and the father-daughter dynamic. But it feels like it just abandons 2 of those about halfway through. He escapes the venue, and then the daughter character just takes a total backseat to the character played by Shyamalan's real-life daughter. So Trap isn't a great movie, but it's not bad. It wasn't a waste of time or anything. It's enjoyable enough, it has interesting aspects, and it's a pretty original idea. I just wish it was better because it had a lot of potential. It's at least worth watching if you like Josh Hartnett. I've seen the movie described, including by Shyamalan himself, as Hitchcockian, and something I appreciate about Hitchcock was his tendency to experiment. The protagonist switch in Psycho, trying to make Rope look like one shot. Hitchcock apparently even described the latter film as an experiment that didn't work out. Even if his experiments could be considered failures, they were at least bold and interesting failures. And I think that's what I find most Hitchcockian about Trap. A bold and interesting failure. If you saw Trap, let me know what you thought. Thanks for watching and have a good night.